What is a magical tool? How are they made? Do you need them? And do they make you a better witch? Hey guys, I'm Tempest, the Flamewoven Alchemist, and today we're going to talk about magical tools. Let's learn some magic. So what is a magical tool? Well, first we're going to need some definitions. According to Merriam-Webster, a tool can be defined as something that aids in accomplishing a task or a means to an end. Pretty standard info. But what makes a tool magical? Well, let's define magic. It's important to remember that if you ask 7 different practitioners what their definition of magic is, you're probably going to get 7 different answers. So here's my definition for magic. Magic is the process of interacting with energy or energetic beings in order to accomplish a goal. So putting these two definitions together, magical tool is something that aids in working with energy or with energetic beings to accomplish a goal. Now that we know what a magical tool is, let's talk about the different types. I like to break this into 3 categories that deal with how a tool is actually used. The first category is tools that are used in communication. The second category is tools that perform a physical action. And finally, we have the tools that perform an energetic function. These groups are not mutually exclusive, but I find that most tools fall into one category or another. Tools used in communication are also known as divination tools in most cases. Examples include tarot and oracle cards, pendulums, spirit boards or Ouija boards, and scrying mirrors. Divination is the process of gathering information about something from non-corporeal sources or energetic beings. Divination tools can be used to interact with your own intuition, your higher or lower self, also known as your primal self, spirits, guides, deities, or universal energies, commonly referred to as source. Other examples of communication tools are those used by ghost hunters to interact with spirits, such as spirit boxes, K2 meters, EMF detectors, and so on. While these devices are not commonly used in magical practice, they can be used to help those working on developing their clairsenses as a means of validation. It's important to remember that these items are not 100% foolproof, but when you're learning to trust your intuition or clairsenses, it can be useful to have that sort of double check of, no, I'm not crazy. This device is picking up on the same thing that I am. And that's something that can be really helpful when you're just starting out. It has certainly helped me learn to distinguish between personal thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and external messages as a claircognizant. And that's not to say that that feeling of, am I crazy, is ever really going to go away. I think that this is actually a really important part of working with magic and working with energies. I think it's actually really healthy and reminds us to be analytical of what we're experiencing. To me, that warning in the back of your head, like, am I imagining this or am I actually sensing this, helps remind us to stay grounded in the physical world that we inhabit and helps prevent spiritual psychosis. If you never question yourself, that's when I would be concerned, right? Wondering if something is all in your head doesn't make you a worse witch or practitioner or a bad witch or practitioner. I find it actually makes you a better practitioner because you are remembering that it's important to analyze what you are experiencing. Just make sure that you're being constructive rather than critical in your analysis. But I digress. Let's move on to the second category. This is tools that perform a physical action. These are tools that affect your energy work through your use of them. Examples include a mortar and pestle, which is used for grinding herbs while you add your intention to them. This can also be scissors or a knife that is used to harvest plants. It could be a broom that is used to sweep away both dust and energy. A chalice that is used to hold offerings or libations, or a pen used specifically for writing petitions. This kind of tool can be as simple or as elaborate as you want. The important thing is that it helps make a mundane action more magical, more intentional, more meaningful. So sitting at the intersection of this category and the next, that being those that are used for energetic purposes only, are items like wands, staves, athames or ritual knives, and the like. Now these are tools whose action only affects the energetic plane. These items are used as tools to direct and channel energy. For example, an athame or ritual knife can be used to cut through energetic links, but is not normally used to cut through physical matter or physical objects. The motion of cutting something is mimed, severing the energetic link, but there's no physical separation of anything. No physical change is happening. I find that these tools on the edge of physical and energetic action are largely ceremonial in nature and may not be suitable for all practices. The final category of tools are those with an energetic function, purely energetic function. These are items that a non-practitioner would likely see as just decor or simple object. Examples of this include charmed jewelry, talismans, charm bags, ward anchors, crystal grids, and even artwork. These are items that modify the flow of energy through the universe and in a specific space. Also included in this section are items that generate or raise energy and those that store energy. Examples of this can be drums, singing bowls, candles, and things that have been programmed as energetic batteries. All right, now that we've talked about what a magical tool is and the various different types of tools, let's talk about why tools are useful in magic and if you actually need them. So the simple answer is that no, you don't need tools if you don't want to use them. You also don't need to purchase lots of fancy or special tools. If you want to and it makes you happy, go for it. But if money is tight or you would rather make your own tools, DIY is just fine. So for those of you who don't know, I run a small business where I make magical tools and talismans. So obviously I'm a biased source, right? But I do 100% believe that the right magical tool can transform and empower your practice in a really helpful way. The reality is that your most powerful magical tool is yourself. Your intuition, your clairsenses, your ability to sense and control energy. These are the foundation of all magical practice. These abilities are inherent in all humans, but it does take time and practice to do them well and to use them. You might be great at energy work, but maybe not so great at getting messages from spirits. These are skills that you build over time. But not everyone has the time and energy to dedicate to building all of these different skills, right? That's where tools come in. The purpose of a tool is to make it easier or more accessible for you to accomplish a task. So find the tools that work for you and your needs. As someone who deals with chronic illness, that is a constant drain on my energy. I work with candles and energetic batteries more than any other tool. I work with these as power sources, which allows me to do the magic that I want to do when I want to do it, rather than having to wait for a time where I have enough spoons to be able to do it. So I'm someone who is claircognizant. That's my strongest clairsense. So I just randomly will know things that it doesn't really make sense for me to know, but I still use a pendulum to clarify, was this a message or was this an errant thought sometimes? So these are some of the tools that work really well for me, but they may not work as well for others. And that's okay. Find what works for you. You don't need the most fancy and expensive tools to do amazing magic. You just need the ones you really connect with. Speaking of connection, I'm an animist. So I see a spark of divine source in all matter. This spark is very bright in living creatures like humans, plants, animals, but it exists in the mineral kingdom as well. I find that the spark is generally dormant in physical objects and materials, but it can be woken up and rekindled. Reawakening this spark can be done through the crafting process or from repeated use in magical work. This is why I personally prefer magical tools that have been made by a craftsman or another practitioner rather than mass-produced, because that spark has already started to flourish again. One of the things that was drilled into me in my high school shop class that still holds value to this day is that if you take care of your tools will take care of you. And I find that that's absolutely the case. My magical tools in my own practice are not just objects, they are allies. And realizing this was the biggest sort of level up that I've had in my magic. My personal belief is that owning a magical tool should be an act of devotion rather than an act of possession. To say that this tool is mine to care for, mine to protect, mine to work with, not mine to use. And I think that makes a really big difference. So that's a basic intro into magical tools. I hope that this information has been helpful to you. I'd love to know what tools you use most in your practice, or if there's anything you want a more in-depth video on, so let me know down in the comments. Time for a shameless self-promotion. I run a small business making magical tools from glass, metal, and other minerals. I do custom wire wrapping and other custom work all the time, so if you're interested in getting something handcrafted, check out my website linked in the description box below. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe or share it with your friends. And remember, keep making magic.